on Facebook saying, can they bring the 2-year-old along, and we fully welcome it. The change we want to see isn't just with us, but we want to be able to make a statement to all the generations. And I think if you were to join us in this strike, it would show to the government that it isn't just a younger generational thing, and it does have the support of older generations. And in that respect, if you've got the future supporting it and also the present, it makes it even more forceful, our demands.
Going back to Mark's point about the force of the law, we've got a very strong moral force behind us, but we really do need more of the legal side. So who is coordinating, heading up the whole ecocide law approach, given the loss of Polly Higgins?
There's two legal aspects to this. There's the ecocide approach. Polly was founded this organisation, but it continues. And then there's the legal side about restrictions on the right to protest and support for people who've been arrested. And I think that the climate movement has a lot to learn from the fracking campaigners, and I hope that the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom that the fracking people have developed is captured. I also think that the loss of Green and Black Cross, the temporary loss, hopefully not permanent loss of Green and Black Cross as a legal support for Extinction Rebellion is dealt with in the short term, and that in the longer term Extinction Rebellion becomes an organisation that Green and Black Cross can work with. Maybe I'm losing people getting into technicalities here. But we also have to remember that laws change thanks to social movement activity. So the oppression of black people in the Deep South up until the 1960s was perfectly legal. It was totally immoral. But it was perfectly legal, so we need to remember that just because it's legal don't mean it's right, which I think is what you said at the outset.
Stuart, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah. Somebody mentioned at the start that the social movements need to innovate. And very helpfully, up there it says, if one group doesn't work for you, please get involved in another. And I've struggled for years to get involved in groups. They have these really boring meetings. They drag on and on and on. People show up and they don't show up, they don't achieve anything. Some people like groups, some people don't. And I'm just wondering if there's any mileage in perhaps people do like to do things that they're good at and that they like doing. And so perhaps another avenue just to consider is that having a way for people to use their skills without necessarily becoming a signed up member of XX Judean People's Climate Front group.
Split up!
I don't quite know how that could happen. So if you're interested in live streaming or podcasting or graphic design or meeting facilitation, you might not necessarily see that you have to join a group and then go to their meetings every month. But you could do that, you could flit across groups without necessarily having that commitment to just one and see yourself more as a member of the movement.
I think that's a brilliant observation, and actually I think that is how some people in Manchester, Greater Manchester, do operate. A lot of people are members of different groups. So, but yeah, maybe we don't make that easy enough. To the lady's point who gave the feedback from the Naomi Klein night, it sounded like that was the kind of thing that people were sort of feeding back as well. We kind of want more places where we can meet and talk about this. But does it have to be to an affiliated group meeting, is what you're saying? I know, Tudor at the back runs Green Drinks, and I've been along to a few of those events, and I personally find those events really good for that. There's lots of people I meet who it's not about groups, it's about individuals and stories and sharing stuff, and So yeah, I think we need more social spaces, not just to kind of have drinks. I mean, I don't drink, so I'm not really that into kind of alcohol. And again, that's an issue that not everyone is. So I'm not talking about kind of necessarily that kind of socialising, but sort of where the primary aim is what you've described. I couldn't agree more.
Revamp the skills exchange concept.
Do you want to answer that question? Okay, so there is a sheet of paper here that Climate Emergency Manchester has. It's also online, where we ask you explicitly what skills you have and what skills you want, and we promise not to exhaust you by constantly demanding that you come and use your skills. We're much more interested in you sharing your skills with other people, so there aren't bottlenecks. The classic bottlenecks tend to be around website management and public speaking, and we really need to spread those skills, and I want to hear what you mean by skills exchange afterwards. But there is...
Okay, so we're going to have to make this the last question.
Okay, thank you. I'm Sarah, so a quick request. I write the Extinction Rebellion newsletter, and I really want to, picking up on what everyone said here, make better links between groups. So if you are interested in being interviewed in that newsletter or having a little piece about what your group does, they won't all be in the first week, but please come talk to me, and I'll kind of put those over a few weeks into the newsletter, because I think it's true that probably not everyone who reads our newsletter wants to do the exact type of activism that we're doing, and we can probably funnel people better to the right groups. And my question was, I've heard lots of great political analysis tonight. I've actually had a lot of problem kind of finding this information, even stuff as simple as what is the responsibility of the council? Yes, they published a green plan, but what's wrong with that plan? How can we have better spaces to hold this analysis, maybe online? Where is it, if it already exists, or if not, should we be publishing things? Kind of putting all our knowledge in writing so it's available to everyone.
So there's this website that's been going for a little while, www.manchesterclimatemonthly.net.
It is deeper analysis. It's got interviews, but I want really deep. What's wrong?
It does analysis, and it points to the brilliant analysis of people like Claire Stocks and Mark Burton. This stuff does exist. I hear what you're saying about there needing to be some sort of central repository, and maybe that's something that we need to work on more.
As a kind of slightly outsider to the Green Movement, I've not found, I'm aware of your website, but I've not found it very easy sort of trawling through lots of blog posts. And this isn't a criticism of your website, it's probably one of the most useful of the things I've found. But I think if you're just a citizen who's kind of interested and who's got 20 minutes to spend on it, where are you going to find that information?
Okay, so here's a counter proposal. Maybe Ali, Claire, Mark Burton, think of some other people. We could be online on Twitter. We could have a monthly Twitter Q&A for Greater Manchester, and then if there were questions that we couldn't answer in 260 characters, we could do a whole tweet thread. No, but seriously, if there are key questions that we insiders have forgotten, basic stuff what is the legal responsibility of Manchester City Council, what is blah blah blah. Yeah, we old farts who've been doing this for so long, we've probably forgotten that we ever didn't know it. So if people pitch those sorts of beginner questions to us, that's a prompt. But it mustn't just be blog posts, it's got to be videos, because there's a lot of people who care passionately about climate change, but don't have the confidence to read a 1,000-word blog, but they would watch a 4-minute video. I'm going to shut up now.
I think that's a really good idea, having a tweet Q&A.
No, sorry. Does any of these work?
Just a really quick point back, I think, Sarah, I was at a thing this morning, Salford volunteering conference thing, and they asked me to talk about the environmental plan, and I had about a minute and a half to do it. So what I did was a quiz, 6 questions, and it was like, oh my god, this is brilliant, because the way of communicating what I'd written actually is like an 8,000 word article into 6 questions. And I think it's a totally fair point. So I'm going to take that away personally, I don't know about anyone else, and I think there's a lot more I could do to translate some of this into like really, you know, like 10 things you need to know about X and stuff like that. I think that's what I've heard, and I think there's more. Certainly, I feel that I could do it.
Thank you, Claire. So we're going to draw proceedings to a close there as far as the formal Q&A goes. We need to clear the room by 9 o'clock. So we let the sort of the Q&A run over a bit.
But we do have, I mean, they're not going to come with the guard dogs.
Are they not?
No.
Oh, I thought that's what places did.
Mingle!
Mingle. Talk to each other.
Professional one.